I am an American soldier.
I'm a warrior and a member of a team.
I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values.
I will always place this first.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never quit.
I will never leave a fallen comrade.
I am disciplined.
I am disciplined. Physically and mentally tough.
Trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills.
I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself.
I am an expert and I am a professional.
I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the
enemies of the United States of America in close combat.
I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
There's strong, and there's Army strong. See what it takes at GoArmy.com.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Harden. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at rahardin.com. That's the World Wide Web at rahardin.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit Amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Harden to see and purchase his books.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate Formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
My name is Jessie. I'm a United States Special Forces widow. This gives me a unique perspective on the world around us. If you're willing to listen, I'll tell you how I see it, and I won't pull any punches. This is my POV, which stands for Point of View.
All right, this is Jessie. How y'all doing out there today? You know I miss you when we're not talking. What, you don't believe me? I promise I do. Yes, I've got my show prep. Can't hear it because I got other stuff in the way tonight. It's been quite an interesting day, my friends. I can't share it all. I'd love to share it. But I am going to give you a hint. And it's a really awesome song. Now, we don't have time to play it all. I promise you will get to hear it tomorrow. Of course, I can't find it with the minute I go looking for it. All right, come on. Of course. There it is. Finally found it. Alright, here's part of it. Everything is changing. Little Superman falls. Everything is breaking apart now. There's one to save us all. Superman falls. What's in store now? That selfless has been selfishly relieved. Alright, that is part of a song called Superman Falls. And you're going to get to hear more of that song. In fact, I promise, tomorrow you're going to get to hear the whole thing. And it doesn't come out until the 17th. So again, KLRN Radio got the scoop. We got it ahead of release. Now, you know if I did the interview, I don't speak musician, do I? Not really. I can fake it and talk to anybody, but that song is actually about PTSD. Sorry. Okay. Excuse me. Host Kitty was demanding some second helpings on his dinner. What can I say? I gotta give in to the host kitty, don't I? Yeah, kinda do. So, gotta have the host kitty around. And he's actually right here. I mean, the actual cat, not just the sound effect on the board. So, it's gonna be a fun night. I've got a lot going on in the world, but I say that every time. I know I do. I know. I say that every time. Well, today's no exception. And I've got something we've never had, to my knowledge, on KLRN Radio before. Yep. We've had music, so it couldn't be that little song clip now, could it? Nope, not the song clip. So what am I talking about? I am saying I've got audio that I've never heard used on any TV or radio network, and I listened to a fair few. And that's because the North Korean ambassador to the United Nations isn't known for doing a whole lot of press conferences. But he had one yesterday. Now, I would have tried to play it for you yesterday, but you didn't want me to. You wanted me to take the time and try and clean it up a bit, because let's just say this much. 2 words. Broken English. Low volume and broken English. So, I needed to have a little bit extra time with it. So rather than bring you something half-baked, because I don't like doing half-baked, and you know that. I don't like doing half-baked. So rather than bring you something half-baked, I chose to take the extra time to do what I could to clean it up to make it understandable. My oh my. My nose is not giving up today. I thought I had this thing under control. My nose is just not gonna let me get on with the show. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna do something I don't normally do. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, not one of the huge long 3-4 minute ones. We're gonna take a 1 minute commercial break so your host can blow her nose. All right, satellite.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from the critique of the short story through to line edits on full-length novels. We also offer assistance on generating writers' bios for your websites. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
All right, thank you for hanging in there with me, and that feels so much better. All right. Yes, I'll do the show prep thing one more time. Sound a bit better? It should. I got what was in the way out of the way. So, we have a lot going on tonight. I say that every day. I know. But remember those? We're going to start with a little bit of Middle East propaganda. Yes, we're going to start with a little bit of Middle East propaganda. That I didn't know was propaganda. And I'm betting you didn't either. Unless you got a real keen eye. But I was probably so incensed, I wouldn't have paid attention. So, one of those things. And there's a couple stories I saved from last night that we didn't get to. And there's always a couple of fun things when you discuss Iran and Israel. Oh, yes. And if the news is right, there is one less Daesh leader in the world. Yes. I'll take that news as a good sign today. So I am just straightening up some show prep because I had a printer problem tonight. So we're having to do this a little bit differently and on the fly. Alright, now that I think I got my ducks finally in a row, yes, I know, we're almost 25% into the show. And I finally got my ducks going quack, 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 quack. But it is what it is someday, folks, and trust me, I thought about just bailing today. You don't believe me. Oh, trust me, I did. So, I know, I don't always do the best. But I admit, I will never stop, it'll take me a long time before I stop trying. So, what you guys, I don't know if I mentioned this on air, you know I had a computer crash and had to redo everything. As in, nothing was where it should be, I had to reinstall software, the whole 9 yards. So, it was quite the bit of intrigue. And I still haven't, believe it or not, a week and a half in, gotten everything sorted out. Right, Host Kitty? He's been trying to help me. I promise, and I know that's not his usual meow, but it's the one we're going to go with for tonight. Because I can't find the other one. Like I said, my ducks are not all in a row. I don't know what it is about this time slot, but you just gotta have a few sound effects to make the night fun. There is nothing else to be said. Alright, let's finally get down to the highlights of the day. If you're like me and you first go and you just want the headlines, let's talk. Well, on the military side, alright, if you haven't heard about the Marines' denigration of women and the pictures that have been released, the Marine Corps is anything but happy. Oh, trust me. The Marine Corps is fuming to the point where even the Secretary of Defense is putting out comments on it. And that ain't good, folks. When you make it that far, Houston, we have a problem. So, Now, I am going to play part of this, and this message was from the Commandant of the Marine Corps, General Robert Neller, about conduct as a Marine. That's how bad it's gotten.
Hey Marines, Corporal Alex Smith here. I'm here at the National Museum of the Marine Corps getting a look at what the new wing is all about. We'll have more for you on that next week, but for now, General Robert Neller, Commandant of the Marine Corps, delivered a message to all troops March 7th regarding reports of social media.
Hang on, it's not the message. Let me find it. Here it is.
Regarding reports of social media misconduct.
What we say and do each day represents who we are, and there is no time off for Marines. We are all in 24/7. And if that commitment to your excellence interferes with your me time, or if you can or are unwilling to commit to contributing 100% to our Corps' warfighting ability by being a good teammate and improving cohesion and trust, then I have to ask you, do you really want to be a Marine?
Oh yeah, and the Sergeant Major Green had something to say at what looks to be a hearing.
We will continue to police our ranks, search our policies, update our policies, and do everything we can to make sure that our families, our Marines, and everyone that serves under the Eagle Globe and Anchor are taken care of and treated with dignity and respect.
So the Marine Corps is fuming. And that wasn't the full statement that he made, but that was by far one of the most powerful portions of it. His full statement was a bit longer.
Marines General.
His full statement was almost 4 minutes, and I didn't want to take the time out for you to listen to the full 4 minutes. Now, you know it's bad when the Secretary of Defense comes out with a news release on it. And I will read you what he said. The purported actions of civilian and military personnel on social media websites, including some associated with the Marines United Group and possibly others, represent egregious violation of the fundamental values we uphold at the Department of Defense. The chain of command is taking all appropriate action to investigate potential misconduct and to maintain good order and discipline throughout our armed forces. Lack of respect for the dignity and humanity of fellow members of the Department of Defense is unacceptable and harmful to unit cohesion necessary to battlefield victory. We will not excuse or tolerate such behavior if we are to uphold our values and maintain our ability to defeat the enemy on the battlefield. And he put that out a couple days ago, but I was just waiting to see how all this was going to play out. So that's the military side. I mean, trust me, the Marines are fuming! The Marines are anything but happy. And they're trying to get their ducks back in a row. I gotta get a better duck sound. Maybe I can find a better duck while we're on break. Because we are coming up to the legitimate normal break time. We're not there yet, but we're getting. So hey, you never know what I'm going to play on this show. You want to know the truth? Some nights, neither do I until I get on the air. And that, folks, is the truth. And that is for Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un North Korea is now, believe it or not, blaming, of all things, this is the one I couldn't figure out. North Korea is blaming the United States for Kim Jong-nam's death. Now, I haven't ferreted out the audio yet, but I do have, and you'll understand why in a second. This audio was very challenging to go through because I had to listen very closely, and you will too. The North Korean ambassador to the United Nations does not have the clearest English, and he speaks rather softly. I've done what I can to enhance it without distorting it. All right, let's take a listen.
The ballistic rocket launching drills conducted by the Hwasong Artillery Unit of the Strategic Forces of KPA is the routine one to resolutely frustrate the ever more undisguised nuclear war racket of the United States and other hostile forces, and honorably defending the security of the country and the nations.
Okay, so their missile tests are routine, and we're supposed to take a long walk off a short plank. Well, that wasn't the only thing he said. Some of this, like I said, is very hard to understand.
As you know, the U.S. South Korean forces kick off the joint military maneuvers aimed at the preemptive nuclear strike against the DPRK, the only to push the situation to the brink of the nuclear war.
So, he said that our actions during our full eagle exercise and key resolve exercises over on the peninsula with the South Korean Army, or the ROK Army, brings us to the brink of nuclear war. Here's another one.
It is just a self-defensive right of the sovereign state to keep high alert as required by the grim situation in which the actual war may break out any time, and to consolidate the powerful, the deterrence in every way to mercilessly wipe out the aggressors.
Mercilessly wipe out the aggressors. No offense, as if. Really, as if. But that's just some of the crazy rhetoric they spewed, and we are time to take the real commercial break. So, we are going to go take that break, and I will see you on the other side. And we will discuss more of the insanity that is North Korea when we come back.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from the critique of the short story through to line edits on full-length novels. We also offer assistance on generating writers' bios for your websites. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-757-2782. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-757-2782. That's 877-757-2782.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Thank you for hanging in there with me while we paid them bills. Now, the DPRK is off its rocker, and I'm not afraid to say it. And if any of you have a problem with it, no, I'm not talking the average citizen, the average oppressed citizen. They have no choices. Let's just get that straight. All right, I think I found the audio from when they were at their press conference today, answering a few questions.
Okay. Since time is limited until 12 o'clock, so I'd like to finish getting the questions, and my ambassador will make a response. Thank you for your kind understanding for my comment. Thank you.
Well, I will give you the answer. The inconvenience for packing. Firstly, as far as our proposal to organize the international forum or law export for clarifying, the legality of the UN Security Council sanctions, or the sanctions against the DPRK. We just proposed, but as I mentioned before, we didn't any, the answering here. We didn't receive any, the the reply from the U.S. Secretariat.
Okay, that comment was in response. That comment had to do with. I don't think I played it for you yet.
It is just a self-defense, defensive right of the sovereign state.
No, wrong clip.
Under the pretext Article 39 of the UN Charter, to avenge former Rhodesia, which declared its independence from Britain. The International Judicial Circuit clarified illegality of the resolutions and took the issues of the UN Security Council's act of going beyond its mandate.
Okay, so North Korea is saying that the UN, in particular the Security Council, has gone beyond its mandate. And I haven't had time to research the actual mandate. And then he had one more comment. Let's take another quick listen.
Now the U.S. continue to cook up the resolution by abusing authority of the UN Security Council in defiance of universally recognized international law. In this regard, the DPRK requests the UN Secretariat to organize the International Forum of Law Export for clarifying the legal ground for those resolutions either in New York or Geneva.
Now, one of the reporters said, well, have they just not had time to get back to you, or what's going on? And that was the response, as best as I could ferret it out. Trust me, it's an interesting listen. It is off UN Web TV. You can find it and listen for yourself if you're so inclined. Alright, I'm trying to find this section where he blames the United States for Kim Jong-nam.
That's why they're still waiting, and they urged them to, the reply to our proposal. And then one of the, the important question, the relating to the case of Malaysia. As you know, they are the citizen of DPRK. They're bearing a diplomatic passport. They suddenly fell in a state of shock before boarding an airliner and died on the way to the hospital in Malaysia on February 13. It was well known. Since the official position of the DPRK on this case in detail, that's true, in their comment on February the 13th from the KCNN, and the statement of the Korean Jurist Committee on February 23 was already known. That's why I do not fail to mention and repeat again those associations relating to the case. It was already, they known in public the clear position. But let me take this opportunity to emphasize once again the stand on case in general. The from A to Z, this case is the product of reckless moves of the United States and South Korean authority aimed to meet the dangerous political purpose to tarnish the image of the dignified DPRK and bring down the social system in it.
Okay, I'm going to play that part again. Just that part, I promise. I promise I'm getting it prepped real quick on the fly. So I do that from time to time. Alright, here's the audio one more time.
The from A to Z, this case is the product of reckless moves of the United States and South Korean authority aimed to meet the dangerous political purpose to tarnish the image of the dignified GPRK and to bring down the social system in it.
Alright, so he's saying that the death of Kim Jong-nam and the case in Malaysia is the work of the United States and South Korea to tarnish the reputation of North Korea. Give me a break. Oh, Host Kitty said he had a comment. Yeah, I kind of agree on that one, Host Kitty. That definitely deserves a hiss. So, what can I say? I'm sorry. There's nothing we can do to tarnish your reputation that you haven't already done. It is not possible to further tarnish the reputation of a country that starves its citizens to death and puts all its capital into developing nuclear weapons. I'm sorry, and that imprisons its people. They have no rights, they have no freedom. Even watching a foreign TV show is grounds for death. And I did not mean to make this episode all about North Korea. Now, I know my time is waning. So we are going to move a bit. So, but not too far. Alright, as you know, Secretary of State Tillerson is on an Asian trip. He didn't take a whole lot of media with him. He left most of the media, if not all of them, behind. They've been in a bit of uproar. Now, there are reports, though I have not been able to confirm them, that the U.S. buildup near on the Korean Peninsula is, including drones, military special forces, is purportedly part of a plan aimed at incapacitating the rogue regime in Pyongyang should conflict break out. Now, of course, as I told you last night, and if you don't routinely follow this show, the U.S. Army, after coordination with the Republic of Korea and the United States Air Force, has begun the process to permanently station a Gray Eagle unmanned aerial system company at the Kunsan Air Base, Republic of Korea. The station of this company, which will be assigned to the 2nd Combat Aviation Brigade of the 2nd Infantry Division, directly supports the U.S. Army's strategic plan to add one Gray Eagle company to each division in the Army. So, it has been definitely one of those things. Now, of course, North Korea had to come back and say it will launch a merciless strike if an aircraft carrier strike group led by the USS Carl Vinson infringes on its territory. And the actual quote is, if they infringe on the DPRK's sovereignty and dignity even a bit, its army will launch merciless ultra-precision strikes from ground, air, sea, and underwater. And that is according to the state-run news agency KCNA. So, Pyongyang has ratcheted up its rhetoric again because of the impending war games. Now, these are nothing more than exercises. Now, of course, this is the first time SEAL Team 6 has been reported to join the annual Full Eagle and Key Resolve exercises. Full Eagle started March 1st and it runs through the end of April. Key Resolve is a computer-simulated command post exercise that began Monday and will continue until March 24th. So, Jan Happ claims the heightened military presence is part of a plan to decapitate the North Korean leadership. They say a military official who asked not to be named told them a bigger number and more diversified special operation forces will take part in this year's Full Eagle and Key Resolve exercises to practice missions to infiltrate into the North, remove the North's command, and demolition of its key military facilities. So, now, there's been a U.S. defense official saying local special operations units will participate in this training, but SEAL Team 6 is not part of it. So the Pentagon denies it, but the newspapers say they are. One former special operator told the media the Department of Defense will play its cards close to the vest on what special operations forces are actually participating, and they would never acknowledge their movements. So, of course, SOCOM, headquartered at MacDill, referred queries to Special Operations Command Korea. They did not respond. So, it's been an interesting time trying to find information about this. Now, of course, the White House has recently had an internal strategic review of North Korea, including possible use of military force or regime change to blunt the country's nuclear weapons threat. People familiar with the process have said that a prospect has some U.S. allies in the region on edge. So it's going to be interesting. Chinese and North Korean officials are holding talks in Beijing, and that's the first known, and I stress known, high-level meeting in nearly a year. U.S. officials have underscored possible military dimensions of their emerging strategy in recent discussions with allies. During the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's 2-day visit with Mr. Trump, officials on several occasions stated that all options were under consideration to deal with North Korea. It was clear to the Japanese side that those options encompassed a U.S. military strike on North Korea, possibly if Pyongyang appeared ready to test an ICBM. The Japanese side purportedly found that possibility worrisome. So, like I said, it's been interesting. And for those of you unfamiliar with this, Kim Jong-un has overseen a long-range missile launch failure in April of 2012, a rocket-mounted satellite launch. Of course, then in February 2013, the UN slapped him with more sanctions. Then there was the Yangbang nuclear complex restarting in April 2013. And trust me, folks, if that thing looks like it's operational, it is. They don't have the electricity in that country to play games with it. In May of 2013, there were 4 short-range missile launches. China bans export of items that can be converted to weapons in 2013 of September. Chang Song-tek, Kim Jong-un's uncle, was executed in December of 2013. Rongdong ballistic missiles were tested in March 2014. Then, of course, the Yangbang nuclear site was reported as functional in September 2014. Then North Korean officials visit neighbors in South Korea to resume formal talks in October 2014. But talks must not have gone well, because then you had the Sony picture, the interview, and North Korea purportedly hacked that. Then the United States in 2015 imposed new sanctions. There was a landmine blast at the DMZ, and the use of loudspeakers by the South to blare anti-government messages in North Korea is considered psychological warfare that had not been used in years, but they restarted it. We know for a fact in September 2015, Yangbang, the nuclear plant, resumed operations. In December 2015, you have more U.S. sanctions. North Korea, in January 2016, claims to have tested a hydrogen bomb. North Korea sent another satellite into orbit on February 2016, and that's allegedly because the satellite was tumbling in orbit. It never made it stable, but it was an Earth observational satellite. It weighed 220 pounds. It modeled weather maps and things like that. And that's according to North Korea. But it never gained stable orbit. In February 2016, the Senate approved new sanctions against North Korea. Also in February of 2016, North Korea executed its Army Chief of Staff, Ri Yong-gil. The UN Security Council in March unanimously approved additional sanctions on North Korea. Then in March of 2016, North Korea threatens the United States and South Korea with nuclear strikes. North Korea in March also fired short-range projectiles into the sea. April 2016, Kim Jong-un says the missile launch is a great success. And of course, the United Nations, South Korea, Japan, and the United States condemned the launches. April 2016, North Korea tried to launch a missile, but it failed. Kim Jong-un holds first Workers' Party conference in May that there hadn't been one held in 30 years. The U.S. and the United Nations officials confirmed production of weapon-grade plutonium in North Korea in June of 2016. In August of 2016, North Korea launches a missile into the sea. September of 2016, North Korea carried out the biggest nuclear test yet, and it was a 5-point-something on the Richter scale. UN Security Council, of course, tightened sanctions in November of 2016. We are almost to this year, folks. And of course, North Korea mourned Fidel Castro's death. Kim Jong-un announced further missile development in January. Then, of course, February of this year, as you well know, North Korea conducts a ballistic missile test fire. And it was successful. And then, of course, in February of this year, you had the death of Kim Jong-nam. And he was a reform-minded member of the dynasty who was considered next in line to rule. So, Kim Jong-un was probably taken out the competition. I know I did not intend to make this show entirely about North Korea. Let's do just a couple of news stories because I got to make my way out of here because even though Jen and Rick isn't on tonight, Rick is planning on doing an extended episode of America Off the Rails. All right, Middle East peace, the ultimate deal. Well, the author of Art of the Deal, a.k.a. President Trump, sent an envoy over to Jerusalem and the Gaza Strip and West Bank to try and lay the groundwork for Middle East peace. Yes, Jason Greenblatt, the U.S. Special Representative for International Negotiations, met for 2 hours on Tuesday with the Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas at his headquarters in the West Bank after talking late into the evening with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The statements after Greenblatt's meeting said the U.S. seeks to encourage a genuine and lasting peace, although they cannot contained a scant mention of the long-time goal of establishing a Palestinian state. Greenblatt's shuttle diplomacy is an effort to see whether the new administration can revive the Israeli-Palestinian peace process and succeed in brokering what Trump has described as the ultimate deal. In a tweet, as President Trump is well known for, shortly after the meeting, Abbas Greenblatt, a former real estate lawyer with the Trump Organization, described the discussion as a positive, far-reaching exchange. A statement released by the United States Consul General in Jerusalem said the sides discussed reining in anti-Israeli rhetoric and incitement in Palestinian territories, something cited by Israeli officials and international diplomats as an obstacle to a peace deal. The United States and Palestinian statements also quoted Abbas saying that a historic peace deal is possible under Trump. Abbas spokesman Nabil Abu Radana said the talks were positive and encouraging, and that is according to the Palestinian news service Wafa. The meetings come just days after Trump held his first conversation with Abbas and invited him to visit the White House. That call came only after Trump had warmly received Netanyahu at the White House and held several phone conversations with the Israeli leader. Both Netanyahu, of course, and Greenblatt expressed the hope to do great things. And of course, they met for 5 hours before releasing a joint statement saying they discussed a joint approach on Israeli settlement construction in the occupied West Bank. So, Trump administration is starting its peace effort at a time when the outlook for an accord is dim. And direct talks between Israelis and Palestinians have been mothballed for more than 3 years. So, it is one of those things we will see if the ultimate deal maker can provide you with the ultimate deal. And that would be quite the feather in his cap. Now, Mosul. We're going to touch on just a couple things about Mosul. And then we gotta make our way out of here because I am already officially out of time. So, give me just a second to find that one article I really wanted to cover. Okay, where is it? I don't even have that much paper on my desk today, and I still can't find the one. Ah, yes. Where do Daesh fighters go when the caliphate falls? Physically, western Mosul is a dense urban terrain emptying out into the western deserts of northern Iraq. So, when it falls, where do the fighters go? Well, they don't have many places to go. One option remains desert caves west of Mosul, while another would be the remaining cities under Daesh control in western Syria, assuming they can get there. So, I'm going to pull up one of my favorite all-time sound clips, assuming I can find it on the fly. But this one I think I can. So, because I'm sorry, I don't want them going anywhere. I don't want, and this may sound cruel, folks, and I'm not going to deny that it's going to sound just a little bit harsh. But I don't want some crazy jihadi getting loose, escaping the confines, finding a new place to live, and then coming back to blow something else up. I'm sorry, that is not what I want to see. So, I would like to play this one more time.
The enemy is completely surrounded in West Mosul, and those who do not surrender to the Iraqi security forces will be killed there.
Just to remind everybody of what the United States government has said. Surrender or die. Alright. As always, you can find me on Twitter at Jessie's POV, and you can shoot me an email at the station at jessiespov@klrnradio.com.
For anyone going through any type of personal battle, whether it's cancer, PTSD, depression, a personal challenge that they want to do, they want to go climb Mount Everest, you need to stay in the fight. And when I say that, I mean mentally. If you're not mentally in the fight, if you don't stay in the fight, you can't win.
Alright, remember, stay in the fight, just like Scott Harvath, aka Sergeant Terry O'Hara. On that note, folks,